morning. It's Monday morning, the 10th of August. We're in the midst, well no we're not, it's the end of summer. Beautiful day today. I went swimming early with my dog. He swam with me. It's one of my favorite things when he comes in the water because he paddles really fast and he doesn't come in when the waves are too strong. But when it's nice and calm, he sort of jumps in and then he lets himself float out with the wave and then back ashore. So that was really nice, and I had a very nice conversation with a gentleman who must have been over 90. He was watching the sea. He said he really loves this spot there. He lives somewhere in the area, and he said, aren't we lucky? Aren't we lucky to be living here in this area where, you know, I walk to the beach. So the decision to move here 9 years ago was the right one. You know, sometimes you make right decisions. Sometimes you make wrong decisions. This is a planet of choice. Oh yes. Guys, this book here has really been very interesting to me. What a journey, because you know, I have like, I don't know how many videos I have on my channel here, over 500, because I just love recording some people when they're doing well, and when the energies are great, and that always happens in drum circles, you know, or music circles. It's very rarely that you have big problems there. So non-verbal communication is really my thing, because it's a good thing, you know. It's a very clear indication of vibration, and it's easy for people to forget their worries. In fact, that was one of the reasons why I personally started doing this stuff 10 years ago. I think I've said it before, and people who know me, and I don't think people who don't know me actually even watch it. But this is for my regulars, and this is for my friends, because we're still in sort of a semi-lockdown in this pandemic. It's all unfolding. We can see it. The control is getting stronger and stronger. And it seems to me, after reading this book, that every individual person on this planet is being asked to, being asked to stand up, and stand up for themselves, stand up for their community, rather than bow to the moneylenders and all of that. But this is an individual thing, isn't it? You can't tell people what to think. You can just do little things and sow seeds. Many of us mothers in particular are angry because I saw today trending is save the children. Great, I hope it does get out, because there's so much cognitive dissonance about the children. I mean, because it's too awful to contemplate. So, you know, as a mother, you're always just think about the very best, and you want the best for your children, if you're a good mother, that is. But there isn't only good mothers on this planet, and there's also not very good fathers on this planet. So, you know, the ones who are loving children, theirs and everybody's, needs to stand up, because they're trying their damnedest to mess with your brain. And if you let them, you get anxious and worried. And this ain't the time to be worried, because we are asked to stand up for ourselves, and I don't know why people find that so difficult when their children are concerned. I find it appalling that people haven't stood up for this a long time ago. This whole pedophilia thing has been going on for eons. Dark forces. Reading this, The Only Planet of Choice, makes me realize that we should be so happy and fortunate that we are on a planet where we can choose what we want to do by simply saying no if we don't want to do something. Very few of us are in literal chains, you know. And if people didn't know how to overcome difficulties, then we wouldn't have rebuilt things after the war every time, would we? It's amazing how quickly humanity is able to rebuild. I mean, I remember floods. I remember a flood in Cornwall, where it was so awful that you thought, oh my God, this is never going to be okay again. And it is. It was. You know, when everybody helps, it's very quickly. And initiatives were formed. I remember, because my sister-in-law was involved. Initiatives were formed for people to help each other and help themselves. And this little village, which was subjected to really coincidental, synchronistic emergence of flood because of rain and because of all sorts, and I remember it was devastating. Bus castle it was, yeah. And I remember visiting, I don't know, maybe a year later or so, and oh my goodness, they had, you know, made it better than it was before. But the tragedy within it all was, of course, awful. People had weeks and weeks in damp houses, and, you know, took ages for them to get benefits and help. So I think people helped each other. And maybe that's the whole purpose of this whole planned. Because even though there was the New World Order planned, they hadn't actually, I think, planned with awakened people, and there are a lot of them, and I think it's becoming so much easier to find out who is awakened, you know. The women who are saying, save the children, they are my friends. Huh? People who are walking around with a mask on the way to the beach are not my friends. I don't want them to be my friends. Sorry, guys, I am being very judgmental here. But then we all have to judge, don't we? I mean, in order to make a choice, you have to choose. I mean, if you choose, that means one thing is not chosen and another is chosen. Yeah? I mean, you know, there is no infinitive truth and all of that. Have you ever thought that maybe some spiritual teaching is complete bollocks? I mean, if you look at spiritual teachers, if you look at Oprah, I mean, she has used the law of attraction to attract what? Children to herself, which then can be trafficked. I'm not surprised people have a cognitive dissonance. I found that very, very hard to believe in the beginning. Now, of course, we are 15, 16 weeks down the line, and if you've pricked your ears up a bit and got your brain into the notion, you would have realized that that is all true. And it's now so overwhelming, the information, that even if you are a shrinking violet, you can see that people need to stand up. I watched last night an Australian fellow who was talking about Melbourne and how people like sit at home in a country which was full of pioneers and you know, spirit, and probably also a conglomeration of many, many countries of the world. So a wonderful microcosm, and Victoria, that city they were talking about, seems to be again another microcosm of the macrocosm. And if they sit at home like sheep, then the wolves come, that's clear. And he was so angry, and I completely understood him. First of all, I thought, oh, do I want to listen to this barrage? Is it going to make me more anxious? Is it going to give me fear? Because a lot of people are, you know, speaking nonsense very loudly. But a lot of people are speaking sense. And I can see over the last 16, 17 weeks of 17 weeks, the people on this planet who are at least on my notification on Facebook and so on, who I definitely segregate as the wheat. Yeah, they are the wheat. They're the ones who have problems with their family and friends because they speak too much about the change in the world, because people don't want change. That's been our problem. That's why it's still like this. I mean, Jesus tried, and that he was quite successful. You can see that we still know about him, and they know about him everywhere. So he did a very, very good job, but he didn't manage to do what he came for. In fact, the greed and the ego and everything grew ever since the 2,000 years ago. It's got worse and worse. We had the Dark Ages, we had the Middle Ages. I mean, if you think how long humanity has been in bondage, it's extraordinary. And now we have the internet, we have everything we need. We are fit and healthy if we choose to. And unless the environment fucks you up, and then you blame other people or you blame this or that. But really what is to blame is the people who have caused it, which is Monsanto, and the governments who are paying it. And this government very clearly isn't right in the head, because they are working together with Bill Gates with the tracking and vaxing and all of that, and people wear a mask. What? What's the matter with people? I'm amazed. I have lost a lot of friends, I think, because where is my cheery demeanor? Where is my cheery demeanor? My cheery demeanor is here, right here, never went away. I can do this the whole time and shut my mouth. I didn't really want to know. I mean, I worked in the global trade and I knew that so many things were wrong. Antibiotics and all the rest of it, food processing. Ugh. So I wanted out of it. I came out of it, came here, did the drum circles and absolutely loved it. It really grounded me. I've always been a quite practical person. And I have no problems with dealing with life, generally. But I feel a little defeated at the moment because it seems to me as if everything has been in vain. I mean, this Australian fellow was saying, you know, people fought for their lives and for their rights. And that happened in America too, and in many countries people have been fighting for their rights. I mean, in France they took the heads off when they got rid of the kings and queens. I mean, we've been there before many times, and I'm not surprised that some people think, my goodness, it's going to end exactly the same again, but this time we're going to be even further in bondage because technology has advanced and the dark forces are not stupid. You must have realized that. This has been an absolute essential briefing from Deep State for me. And if I read it to myself aloud, it would maybe not be so much pleasure. It's nice to share it. I've got a lot of friends who are listening. And yesterday I was contacted by a lady in the States who knows this book very well, and she said she's been banging on about it. But not that many people seem to know it, and she's reading it to somebody who suffers from cancer. And she said it's so great to find somebody who reads it, and we don't know each other, and it just came up because I uploaded a few of these on Vimeo. And it came up on her timeline or on her notifications or wherever it came up. So she sounds amazing, and we are going to keep in touch, and there's still lots to talk about, but yesterday was a crazy day. So I haven't really done half of the things I wanted to do. And today I shall be reading chapter 10 in German. That's been a lovely labor of love for me. And it has occupied me really nicely and positively, and it's been feeding my soul. And it's much easier for me to work in small circles, you know, with friends here I choose to see and they choose to see me, and I'm in touch with people I choose to speak to. Thankfully, because I'm self-employed, I don't have to pander to any master, at least not. Well, the master of money, of course, is always there. That is completely entrenched in our society. But I've done something just in the last few weeks which I think is the best thing I could have done at this time. And I'll talk about it, but I'm not yet fully versed, and I don't like to teach anyway. I've been told I am more of a preacher than a teacher. That might be right. What to do? We are all the way we are. Or are we? Can we change? Can we change? Do we want to change? That is the question, no? Do we want to change, or do you want to... Well, we can't keep it as it was, because that's done. So, you know, the circles I have done, like the Monday morning at the church, and so this is not going to happen anymore. The church has got plans themselves, and with the social distancing and all of that, I would not want to do this anyway. And I think they haven't made their plans yet, what the elders are saying. So basically I said, don't worry about it, I'm not going to do that again. How I gestalt my Mondays when things have kind of balanced itself a bit more, who knows? Who knows? I'm completely happy to embrace the change, the positive change. We have a new community of friends I've been in touch with, and that has really inspired me and empowered me. It's very easy to be disempowered nowadays, isn't it? Very easy. I mean, you can even face scrutiny if you go into shops. Just because you decide not to wear a mask, suddenly you're scrutinized. Who are these people who are scrutinizing me because I decide not to wear one, because I don't believe it? It seems as if you don't follow the narrative or watch the BBC or watch ITV or whatever they are called. All the mainstream media is tainted. And how the journalists can live with themselves, I will never understand. But money, you know, money is the source of all evil. I don't think it's... The energy of money is dirty. It's slavedom, slave tokens. The money of the energy of money. But the energy of abundance is well and alive and kicking. And the energy of love is kicking. And the energy of healing, I think, because a lot of people have realized that medications are detrimental to their health, and even though they might be dependent on opiates or whatever they are dependent on, at some point you have to say the truth in yourself. And there's alternative remedies for everything, I believe, and reading the Council of Nine and listen to Bruce Lipton and all of these amazing teachers, I can hear that you can very well heal yourself. If you have the right attitude and if you make the right choices, then it's possible. What we need to do is get rid of the terrible destruction of our environment and the junk food people are eating. I don't buy at Tesco's anymore anyway, because I hear it's owned by the Rothschild. So I don't know, I'd rather go to small independent shops rather than having to research who owns these big corporations in which I'm giving my money, right? Because I'm just feeding the system, aren't I? I'm feeding the system by, you know, I'm glad I don't have to work at a bank or even be a nurse or something, because then my integrity would be questioned all the time. As it happens, my integrity is already established. I mean, I'm not working employed anymore. I did that for so very long. And of course, when you're working in a company, the boss calls the shots, right? And if you don't agree with your boss anymore, you have to leave, which I have done a few times in my life. Because for me, there's nothing worse than endangering the integrity of my soul. I'm very aware that I have reincarnated many lives, and I learned that through studying, and I think everybody can study that if they so choose. And what has become clear to me is what they say in this book, The Only Planet of Choice, der einzige Planet der Wahl. What they're very clear about is that we have to be aware that we can make a choice. We have to be aware that we have to listen to ourselves. We have to balance the spiritual with the material. And in fact, that was the whole reason why this earth was created. So that we can balance the spiritual and the material like a scale. And the council who speaks here is the pivot of the scale, and it's trying to explain desperately and passionately of how we can make this better. There is one chapter which is called Making a Difference. There is another chapter called The Crossroads. There's a whole chapter talking about the others, the dark forces who have beset this planet here, and they're recycled souls. They keep coming back because they like the physicalness of this planet, and their physical and spiritual isn't completely out of balance because there is no spiritual, and they want everybody not to be spiritual. That's why they have a chip, and they're trying to get into that, get that into you as quickly as possible. And I would not be taking anything, because these chips can be so small that they're 10% of the size of a grain of rice. So, you know, you could be injected with it thinking you are injected with something else, or, you know, you could even be, I guess, in the tests which they're giving out for this Shnovi-Kovi, whatever it's called, Verona Corona. Who takes it even still seriously? I mean, you have to really be brain dead to still believe any of that shit. So I'm not going to run like the Australian, because I'm a polite woman, or even though I'm not English, they are extra polite generally, particularly when they make a wide berth of you when you're walking along the pavement. The other day, no rant. Plenty of ranting around, can't blame it. I love to listen to a good rant, they're often speaking my mind. For me, the most important has been the reading of the book and my meditations and my garden, my animals, my friends. You know, I met, did I already say, I spoke to a really nice gentleman on the beach today. He must have been in his 90s. We're just talking about the world and everything. And I said, you know, you must have wanted to be here, because you're still here and you're watching it. And he says it's extraordinary. I would never believed that it could be happening, that people are so controlled. He obviously didn't take any notice of staying at home because he was on the beach and he was driving there. And he said the only reason why he didn't take his dog is because he has to carry him up the zigzag because the dog is 15. I thought, how lovely. Mine is getting on a little bit, but on the beach he always comes alive, as do I. Now let's have a little tiny bit of my old recordings here. What's this? Oh, that was when Tim Wheater. Tim Wheater. I learned a lot from him. Call and response singing. Love it. Love it.
So that's you. Now most of you now go me, M-E-E-E-E. Try that, you'll see the difference in sound this makes. Just to give you a clue, this activates the crown chakra. This puts you in touch with what is above. Take a deep breath in, please. sound healing activation. I use it as a guide because it's just projecting sound. You may be feeling that as well. So if we now go, so that's quite strong, it's great we're doing that. Immediately we have these lovely Italian words we use, and that's sort of forte.
Forte.
But if we go mezzo piano, which is sort of medium quiet, on an R, so an R is actually the heart opening sound. So try that on the same pitch with a sweetness. Beautiful. Let's do a couple more, please, Brett. Beautiful. Last one doing that lovely breath. Absolutely gorgeous. I want something for the choir. It's not a choir, but it's so great. That's why it's very, very good. The bees. Okay. You're sounding great. We're moving this, we're sort of fast tracking this, obviously.
I never do more than a couple of minutes, but they're cherished in my collection. They're absolutely cherished. Now, it's almost midday. I thought, what can I cheerfully share with you? Cheerfully share. Cheerfully share. The most popular are not usually my circles here. There are other stuff I recorded, like Lucinda and stuff. This is a training session, is it? No, I don't know. Let's see. Let's have something nice here. Let me do something nice. Okay, this is a lovely song. I have played this before, but it's so very suitable. As one we walk this earth together. As one we sing to her our song. As one we love her. As one we heal her. Her heart beats with our own as one. I wonder whether all the people who have been singing this with me actually feel like that, or whether they just think of themselves and it's just a tune. It's just a little tune, isn't it? It could be more, but if you want it to be more, then you have to put intention behind it. There's no other way around. Here's another cliff top. I do miss them. I know who this is. Don't forget to dance, eh? Don't need anybody to dance with. It's all here. That's it. Right. I tell you what, guys, my favorite activity at the moment is reading aloud because it's very good for my soul. Because a lot of things at the moment, when I look at the outside, they're not particularly good for my soul. They disturb me, disturb my equilibrium. And, you know, I do it vibrationally from here. I don't need to be outside for that. Each to their own, and people can find their vibe. Because how much percent you are spiritual, and how much percent... This was a children's circle, lots of children. How spiritual you are inside yourself, and how material you are inside yourself, only you know. right? So if you're not at all spiritual, then you're unlikely to spend too much time with people who are very spiritual. If you're very practical, you will have company with people who are practical. And if you are very spiritual, you have a lot of time with people who are also spiritual. And that might not be the right company for practical people. Apparently the aim of this planet is to combine it and have a balance between the practical and the spiritual. That's what we're here for. And that's what we're working on at the moment. The world's been very, very, very materialistic, everything. And we have to discover our own ability to discern and to be spiritual and love each other, comfort each other. And you can't do that with a mask. No, let me just see. 2015, 9th of March. He had 10,000 men. He walked them up the top of the hill and he walked them down again. And when they were up, they were up. And when they were down, they were down. And when they were only halfway up, they were neither up or down. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. My friend Bev. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Ah, so many little kids. There was little Oliver, Jana's little one, and her mother was there as well. So we had a grandmother, mother, and little one. It was absolutely fabulous. I do quite like clapping. So, but also when you clap, you give energy out. I remember when Jenny does her, when we did positive living groups, and we did a little bit of movement in the beginning, that you clap and then you give the energy out, flick it out. But many people don't understand about these things, and you know, you can't help everybody. That's how it is. Yeah, each to their own. Now here is a little Monday circle. Nonna is simply a delight. Oh, with her mummy, Monica. Oh, I love it when the little ones really run. Many children actually. Oh, that was lovely. I do like a good drumming. And yeah, times have changed. But I think times have changed for everybody. And you know, we just have to live with change, because if we don't understand that we want a change, we all wanted a change anyway. We didn't like the world the way it was, with all the pharmaceuticals and all the pressure and all the striving and the working so hard that you can't think. We didn't really want all of that. I always wondered when I was like 12 or 13, why do we have to pay for everything? If we are Earth people, if it's our planet, why do we have to pay for everything? You know, now they don't even let us have free air. Gotta have it through a mask. I still will forever call this a muscle. Anyway, some people love feeling like surgeons. Maybe gives them a little bit of an illusion that they are a surgeon, or I don't know how people we reconcile it in their head that they're, because by now we all know it was planned. Well, everybody who has got the ability to think about it. It's just that when you're dependent on things, then you have to bow to the system. Otherwise, you can't follow whatever it is. And we need a health service. Every country does. It should be free, as it is here, thank God. But it still uses and wastes so much money. Alternative holistic practices are just the very best, because we are natural beings, and there's plenty of nature. Time to stop, because I'm really busy today. Have a lovely day, everybody. I'm going to be reading again later. Bye.